survivors, and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video. And in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Gold Mythic Easter Davie, who is going to be coming to the game as an advanced token will recruit. Now visually Davie looks pretty interesting. I did do a little preview of this character when it came to the visuals on the left hand side before. We can see it in a bit better detail on the right hand side, and it was drawn to my attention that a lot of the stuff he has in his hands he has actually effectively pilfered from the other Easter characters. This is a bit more obvious on the left hand side as we have Easter Eva with no Easter things on her because, you know, the little like rabbit mask and the ears were stolen from her apparently. And you can see the weapon as well, and the basket, all of it. Pretty much the skirt from Ivanova. Classic Davie, classic Davie. Does look great. On the right hand side you can see the visuals. On the left hand side, prancing along, loving life as always with Davie. Like I said, Eva is not too happy. If we look at the stats at limit break 3, level 1440, he has got 33,355 attack, 24,577 defense, and 29,843 HP. He is going to be a strong character, going to be able to control role, Gold Mythic of course, and he is going to be joining the Rebels Allegiance, as is kind of standard with Davie. Now if we take a look at the Adrenaline Rush, it is called Carrot Chaos. It is a 66 AP cost rush. Attack 5 enemies for 300% damage each, plus 1 attack to each of those enemies if the primary target had 50% or more of their max AP. This fighter recovers from all debilitating status effects. So this is just mainly a massive damage dealing Adrenaline Rush. And then if he does get like stunned partway through it, or if he does get impaired, or anything happens while he's doing this, he will just cleanse it if it is a debilitating status effect, which is actually quite nice. If he has somehow gotten a debilitating status effect on him when he does this Adrenaline Rush already, for instance daze or like normalize, he would also cleanse that of course at the end. But the other ones like stun, taunt, confuse will most likely stop him from being able to use the Adrenaline Rush. I think this is more of a reactive one based on him actually doing the hits. Now, 300% attack to a single target is, you know, it's not too bad. It's not going to be massive amounts of damage, but 300% damage to 5 individual targets is quite nice in terms of just being able to lay down a lot. Potential, you know, passive control, weapon control can come in. But then it's going to be 2 attacks potentially to every single target. So if he's, let's say, has a stun on attack weapon, it gives him a chance to stun every single enemy on the defensive team twice. And there are some heavy chance to stun weapons out there, like 60% plus. So it's not impossible. Control weapons are a thing. He has got the control roll, so he has got a better chance of landing that as well. Like I say, kind of interesting, kind of cool. Let's see it in action. Okay, so here we are on the attack team, and as you can see, we have got a character on defense that has more than 50% of their max AP. That's what is needed for the Adrenaline Rush to hit everybody twice. It's not too hard to make that happen normally in the fight by the time Davie gets his Adrenaline Rush naturally. But if you want to rush early with a command, you know, with someone like Wayland or Laura, you're going to have to make that character gain AP by other characters attacking it, which is pretty much what I've done here. Now, Davie would probably take out Maggie here, but has got a stun on attack weapon. It's actually a defense-based stun on attack weapon for whatever reason. I did not make the weapon. It's just in the test account that I have. I will just do the Adrenaline Rush, and it should attack every single enemy twice, and it can potentially stun them. So we'll do the Adrenaline Rush. Now, we see some stuns come in, but we see also some other effects too, which is pretty interesting indeed. So potentially, even if you don't have a stun on attack weapon, or maybe even if you don't attack twice, this could be good just based on the fact that you are going to get quite a lot of control off, and quite a nice control in that. By the looks of things, early daze could be on the menu for Davie here. And as you know, daze stops signature moves, and signature moves are very powerful for defense team characters, so that is quite nice indeed. If we look at the upgrades on the Adrenaline Rush, you can see at grade 3 it gets plus 2 attack targets, so it goes from 3 attack targets up to 5 attack targets. At grade 5 it gets an upgrade where this fighter recovers from all debilitating status effects, We didn't see in action in that little clip there, but if someone did have some sort of control on their kit while he was doing those attacks going round, he would effectively cleanse those debilitating afterwards. At Limit Break 2, it gets an upgrade where it's +1 attack to each of the enemies if the primary target had 50% or more of their max AP. Like I said, when he does his Adrenaline Rush naturally, this should not be too hard. But if you do want to get that early Adrenaline Rush off, which I think some people might want to, it might be a little bit more difficult. You'll have to be relying on other things, like for instance, by the looks of things, passives when it comes to some early control, potentially the weapon as well, because it did get in some stuns. But obviously, if it's not 100% chance for something to occur, then it is a little bit random. If you're only attacking everyone once, attacking everyone twice just gives you a better chance. That's how it works. So that's the Adrenaline Rush. It isn't too bad. It isn't too bad at all. It's going to mainly be based on what he can do when he hits those enemies. The damage is going to be okay. Don't forget, he could potentially have a ransack weapon too because he's strong. And there are, ransack weapons out there that can steal 3 effects. So if he does get this off to the highest of its potential, he could potentially steal 6 effects off of each enemy, making a grand total of 30 effects that he can steal off of turn 1. Kind of nuts. If you want to use them that way. Or if you want to even use the improved ransack. But yeah, they're kind of nuts if I'm honest. We'll see what his base weapon is later on in the video. He could even have ransack on his base weapon. We'll have to see later. But for now, the Adrenaline Rush, like I say, not too bad. I think it, just like I say, it really is based on the passives and the weapon. Now, before doing the Adrenaline Rush, you're most likely going to do the signature move, and it is called Impaired Lancer. It has got an initial cooldown of turn 1, cooldown of 1 turn, number of uses unlimited. Impair a line of enemies for 1 turn. Make 2 attacks against that line of enemies for 250%, 500% total damage each. This fighter gets elusive for the rest of combat. So some nice early control coming down again. Even if you don't decide to command rush Davie early on in the fight, he'll be able to impair 2 enemies off of turn 1, getting guaranteed procs with the minus 40% chance to resist on those enemies as well because of Davie's roll. Making 2 attacks of 250% each. Again, will proc his passives, like we saw before. Will proc his weapons and do extra damage. It really is based on how you build Davie as a character. The elusive is nice, especially as you're setting him up for his Adrenaline Rush. So that just basically means that he'll do his signature move, and then when he gets around to doing his Adrenaline Rush, he will not be letting people gain AP, which is nice. Even though he may not be doing significant damage, you don't want enemy teams gaining AP. It's pretty much as simple as that. So here we are off of turn 1, and I'm going to impair the top line. I think he'll attack each character twice. We'll just have a little see. First attack comes in on each. Then the second attack comes in on each. Now you can see there is another effect that has been laid down. It is going to be Daze again. So definitely somewhere in the passives. We'll have to check that out. If you want to go all out on the damage on Davie in terms of like how you build him, his base attack is not amazing, but you could obviously get it to scale up a little bit. But I think you want to probably rely on other characters to be those nukers, and obviously Davie is a heavy controller, something that we haven't really had on an attack team except for maybe Trader. So yeah, kind of nice if I'm honest when it comes to what is almost required at the moment when it comes to RTS. Some level of heavy control to stop these manic defense teams from taking over really early on in the fight. Now if we check out the upgrades on the signature move, you can see at grade 2 it gets an upgrade where it impairs a line of enemies for 1 turn. At grade 4 it gets an upgrade where this fighter gets elusive for the rest of combat. At limit break 1 it gets +1 attack each, so it goes from attacking each character once to attacking each character twice, so effectively doubling the damage output. That's not too bad, and obviously doubling the chance of proccing, controls based on passives and weapons as well. And then at limit break 3 we get the standard -1 to starting cooldown. We sometimes get it somewhere else, but it is very much a limit break 3 upgrade. You'd want to get this off as early as possible, honestly, so this is quite important. Low accessibility to this character is going to be LB3 or nothing in my opinion, because you want to get this off as early as possible so you can get your Adrenaline Rushes off as early as possible. It would have been nicer if this was grade 5, and then even a grade 5 Davie could be half decent, and then maybe have the passives be the thing that just scales up and gets more, more chance to proc and so on and so forth. But it is where it is. I think Davie has got some potential when it comes to control. We've seen heavy amounts of control just based on the Adrenaline Rush and signature moves so far. And I will say, I haven't even had his main weapon in his hands, and we haven't even checked out his passives yet, which look pretty interesting because he's getting a lot of extra days in there for sure. So, yeah, quite nice. He will rely on other people to do the damage, as I said before. But when it comes to the control, every damage dealer out there pretty much is relying on other people to do control, except maybe Danny, who does a little bit of control himself, but he hasn't got a chance to reduce people's resist, so it has got a high chance to resist on those confuses. So, yeah, kind of nice from Davie's perspective, and that's not even taking into account his special skill, which also adds extra control, which we haven't really seen yet. But that's it for the Adrenaline Rush and the signature move. Let's move on to the passives. But before we get into the passives, of course, because Davie is an advanced token wheel character, we will be giving away some advanced tokens. We're going to give away 10,000 advanced tokens to one lucky winner. And all you have to do is hit the like button and leave any comment down below. Let me know what you think about Davie. Do you like him? Do you not like him? Is he a good character in your eyes? Any information like that is great. A comment is what enters you. Thank you very much for entering the giveaway, guys. Best of luck. And now back to the video. So here are Easter Davie's mythic abilities. These are his passive skills. Of course, he is a control role character, so he is going to get precision. Enemy resistances are 40% lower against this fighter, which is very nice. The amount of control he's getting out so far is great. The next one is Gift Bag. When attacking, 100% chance to steal 2 positive status effects from the target. Did I say 30 possible, ransacks? I actually meant 50. 50 possible ransacks with his Adrenaline Rush if he has the ransack weapon plus this passive. All those halos definitely gone. You'd assume so. Although I will say, when it comes to the weapon can actually be resisted. Effectively, it can be blocked by support characters, but Gift Bag passive cannot be. So I think this is to bypass that potential there. The next passive is called Dizzying Mind. When attacking a target with less than 60% of their max AP, daze them for 1 turn. So this is where the command rush off of turn 1 seems pretty good, just because everyone's pretty much going to be at less than 60% of their max AP. They can resist this, but they'll have 40% less chance to do so because Davie's control role, which is obviously very nice indeed. The last passive is called Hyper Scrapper. When attacking a target with less than 50% of their max AP, this fighter gets 10% AP. That is that's actually kind of interesting because I think he can do that with his signature move, and then he could potentially do that with his rush. The combination with Davie with someone like Glenn or just maybe AP gain weapons could be really, really good, because on that signature move, he should effectively gain 40% AP off of turn 1 because of those 2 hits. And then obviously, then he's getting 35 AP. He should be almost 100% AP off of turn 1. So one weapon at like 25% AP, and there are a couple of weapons with 25% AP on them, or 20% AP or 15% AP. Davie's going to be rushing turn 2 naturally, which is going to be very, very nice. And also, a lot of defense team characters will have more than 50% of their max AP at that point, and that means he'll hit everybody twice. Okay, now as you can see, the defense team has a lot of effects on it. I have put Davie in, who has quite a lot of effects put down, and so does Wang Fa with the burn, bleed resist off of turn 1. What we'll do is we'll do the signature move of Davie, my attack team Davie, top line, and you'll see the AP he gains is 63. This is big. So 1 AP weapon will guarantee him a turn 2 natural rush. And this means he could potentially synergize with Akira instead of synergizing with, like, say, Wayland and Laura, because Akira doesn't give AP, and you could potentially command him turn 1 if you really wanted to, if you did have an AP gain weapon. So there, you've got options there. Now just take a look at all those effects on the defense team. We'll just hit the attack here. It will only attack each one once because no one's at... Actually, we'll attack Wang Fa. We'll do a little bit more damage to him. There we go. and then we should attack everybody twice. I don't think there's going to be too much in the way of an effect left. This is only with the passive steal, not a weapon on top. So he should be stealing 2 effects from every single character twice. Let me see. You're seeing like the animation. Now Davie is a support character, I believe, so he might have been able to stop something. Or at least maybe he had more than 4 effects, because as you can see, he's got 1 effect left, just the bleed resist. No one else seems to have a positive effect. Oh, Wang Fa does. So again, I think that some of these characters had 5 on them. But if you had a ransack weapon in his hands as well, look at all the effects that he's got on him right now. All the ones he's stolen. Burn and resist. Crosshairs resist. Heal over time. Camouflage. So much stuff. So much stuff. Halo. Defense rating. All the effects. He doesn't necessarily need it, but a ransack weapon obviously would make it so that there wouldn't be as many chances of having effects on the defense team after this. Now jumping straight into the upgrades, you can see at grade 1 he gets the first half of Gift Bag. When attacking, 50% chance to steal 2 positive status effects from the target. At grade 2 he gets the first half of Precision. Enemy resistances are 20% lower against this fighter. And at grade 3 he gets the second half of Gift Bag, making a 100% chance to steal 2 positive status effects from the target. Moving on to grade 4, the first half of Dizzying Mind comes in. When attacking a target with less than 20% of their max AP, daze them for 1 turn. And at grade 5, Hyper Scrapper Part 1 comes in. When attacking a target with less than 50% of their max AP, this fighter gets 5% AP. Moving on to limit breaks, at LB1 we have Precision 2 come in. Enemy resistances are 20% lower against this fighter, making it 40% lower resistances against any control that Davie puts out, and he's putting out a lot of control, so him being a control role character is very, very important. At Limit Break 2, Dizzying Mind 2 comes in. When attacking a target with less than 40% of their max AP, daze them for 1 turn. This stacks with Dizzying Mind Part 1, making it characters with less than 60% of their max AP, you'll daze them for 1 turn. At Limit Break 3, Hyper Scrapper 2 comes in. When attacking a target with less than 50% of their max AP, this fighter gains a further 5% AP, making it 10% AP per attack. Off of turn 1, this is guaranteed to give him an extra 40% AP as you saw, and he got 63 AP off of turn 1. That's 35 plus 40%. 1 AP gain weapon will get him over the line to have a turn 2 natural rush, or a turn 1 command rush with any command, which is very rare to have. Very, very rare to have indeed. Unless someone has the specialist skill like Amped. But that isn't the case for Davie here. So that's actually still, like I say, quite nice. So obviously the passives are nice. They work really well with the rest of Davie's kit. He is a controller and he's getting extra control from a lot of this stuff. He also is going to get his adrenaline rush off quicker because of what he's doing here as well. I think this works great. And obviously this also works with his adrenaline rush. So if he does his adrenaline rush and he hits 10 characters with under 50% of their max AP, he should get adrenaline rush back because he's doing 10 attacks which can give back 10% of his max AP with each attack. They just have to be under 50% of their max AP for this to actually work. He may need an AP drain mod in there to actually stop the first one so he can actually get the adrenaline rush off and attack everyone twice. There might be a bit of weird mechanics in there. Any AP gain manipulators in the team, someone like Glenn would be obviously fantastic with Davie. And anyone who can get damage based on attacking characters that have control would be massively, massively boosted because of Davie. Whether it be someone who's attacking debilitating effects because of their specialist skill or their passives, you know, there's quite a few characters out there right now that do this. So yeah, like I say, very nice for Davie when it comes to his kit. His passives fit in absolutely fine. Now the last part of Davie's main kit is going to be the specialist skill, and it's just going to be adding even more control. It is neutralized too. When this fighter attacks a human target that has 50% or more adrenaline, that target will be impaired for 2 turns. Impaired fighters cannot gain AP or use adrenaline rushes. Obviously this is going to proc with each of his signature move hits and each of his rush hits in terms of potentially proccing. Obviously they have to be over 50% of their max AP, but generally speaking, if they're not over 50% of their max AP, they can't rush the next turn, most of the time. Unless there's heavy AP gain on the defense team, it's very, very unlikely that's going to happen. So Davie should be controlling teams extremely effectively, or getting massive bonuses because they're lower AP. Obviously, this is a fun part. If a character is impaired and they're locked in at under 50% AP, so much of his passives are just going to 100% proc because they're based on them having less than certain percentages of AP. Kind of interesting there when it comes to that side of things, but very nice when it comes to the specialist skill. It ties in well with the rest of the kit. I wouldn't necessarily say this is the most powerful specialist skill out there. Neutralize 2 isn't like top tier, but the same can be said for most attack team specialist skills at the moment, honestly. The defense team ones are way stronger. So yeah, it's more about the character's kit, and Neutralize 2 does make a lot of sense with Davie, like I said. Now, Davie does have an attached weapon, and I did not show this before. It is Easter Davie's Savage Umbrella. I thought it was like a lance or something. Savage Umbrella, apparently. 40% attack, a huge bonus to AP when attacking. Impair line when dealing a critical hit. A line of enemies gets impaired for 1 turn. Improved attack damage boost. Attacks deal 35% damage and they ignore defense bonuses. This is kind of funny just based on the fact that on that adrenaline rush, he's going to have 5 to 10 hits that could potentially crit to impair their line multiple times. So Daze is going to happen potentially. Impair is going to happen potentially. Very interesting. Or you could put a stun on an attack weapon like I did just for the tests. Like I say, lots of control coming out from Davie. Everything is affected by his control roll. Every single proc of any control from Davie's kit, the enemy will have 40% less chance to resist, except for the new specialist Resilient 2, where the minimum they can have is 60% against a control roll character, but at least he'll be able to bypass the mod bonuses that will come in. So this is Gold Mythic Easter Davie, and this is such a heavy amount of control. It will definitely make attacking defense teams easier. It might take you a while to get through some of the stronger teams, but at least this way he's got them kind of, you know, shut down for quite a bit, which is nice. His damage output is going to be questionable. He's not doing huge numbers. He will rely on other people to hit extremely hard. There are some heavy hitting damage dealers out there, whether they be characters from Advanced and Ultra, and the odd free-to-play here and there hasn't been too bad. But the free-to-play's biggest issue is they didn't have a controller. Do you have the tokens to pull for Davie to enable your free-to-play damage dealers to actually get the job done? Well, you have to tell me that. This guy's going to be an advanced token wheel character, like I said. Let me know in the comments down below if you plan to pull for this character. That is the end of my video, guys. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. Best of luck if you enter the giveaway. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.